75% of the time I was traveling alone. And it can become like, I would say, painfully lonely. If you're in a foreign country, you're by yourself, you have no connection to the country. Sightseeing is great, but you need human connections.
Welcome to Permahuman. Inspirational content about wellness and productivity powered by nature. Human permaculture teaches us how to rewire the connection we have with our own self, with our relationships, and with the overall living world. The first step consists in growing self-awareness, questioning our personal ecology through sleep and stress management, nutrition balance, mental health, and overall personal organization. The second layer highlights our interpersonal skills and our capacity to switch to positive communication and overall mutually beneficial relationships. Then comes sustainability, our ultimate ability to build up projects that make us thrive while having a positive impact on the environment. Feel inspired by those topics? Well, take a comfortable seat, and I wish you to fully embrace this episode. Find out more about the Permahuman project by joining our community through the link in this episode's description. Okay, let's dive in now.
Hi, David. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your time. I know you're busy at the moment, so it's an honor to have you here today.
It's an honor to be here.
Cool. Thank you very much. So we are here in the coliving that you operate here in Chiang Mai, Thailand. How are you feeling right now? Good. What's your internal forecast of the moment?
Really good. I've been back I was gone for 4 months.
Okay.
And then I came back 3 nights ago. No, I always, this morning, I was reminding myself I have a lot to be grateful for. We're in Thailand. How many people get all the way around the world to Thailand? Sure. So just being in Thailand, getting this far away from America, being able to travel, freedom, and also just all the people here that, so many interesting people, and I had the idea to create a co-living and it happened, which I should remind myself of, that's special to me that I could accomplish something. So yeah, I'm feeling good. And the weather, so nice. I just came from Korea before this and -6 degrees versus this.
Oh, wow.
It's really nice to
That's a temperature shock coming back here.
Yeah, so the weather's perfect. I think, to me, this is perfect weather. So yeah, the weather's good.
Yeah, so the audience get a hint of the temperature right now. What would it be now? And I mean, you're going to say in Fahrenheit. I would say in Celsius. But...
I mean, I don't know. I would say it's probably about 80 degrees Fahrenheit.
Okay, so that'll be around, 30, definitely around 30.
Yeah, something like that. Okay. I haven't quite calculate Fahrenheit.
So nothing to complain about.
No, nothing to complain about at all.
So we're here at the social club, co-living, Chiang Mai, Thailand. So this is a real setting. We are in a common room, common area of the co-living. So you guys might hear some people, talking in the background, but that's all right. That's where I wanted to do it because that's the actual main topic of this episode. So David, can you explain to the audience what is a co-living space?
Yeah, so I'll tell you how I was introduced to co-living.
Yeah.
I traveled by myself for a couple of years and I would meet with friends, but I would say 75% of the time I was traveling alone. And I hopefully would meet people, but I had a couple incidents where I didn't really meet people in the countries. And it can become like, I would say, painfully lonely. If you're in a foreign country, you're by yourself, you have no connection to the country. Sightseeing is great, but you need human connections. So I actually went online after one of those. I did a month in a country and I didn't really meet very many people. And I started researching online and I came across the term digital nomad. And I was like, oh, this is a new term for me. And then I saw places for digital nomads to live. And then I came across the term co-living. And then looking at some of the sites, I felt like this would be a good way to, as I'm traveling, to stay in a place where you immediately are around people that are in a similar lifestyle. So
we're going to talk about this lifestyle too.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went to Spain to check it out. I did my first co-living experience at a place in Spain. And at first it was a little weird. Like the first 2 or 3 days, I didn't know what to think. Because we were cooking together. It wasn't intense, but it was very, it was shared rooms, bunk beds, cooking together.
Did it look kind of hostile somehow or like bunk beds?
I would say not hostile because everyone would get up and work in the co-working section. Okay. And there wasn't a party atmosphere. But yeah, there
was a lot of shared moment, right?
Everything was shared.
Okay.
Which is weird because you don't really have Like it felt weird the first couple days. And again, I had never experienced co-living.
Mm-hmm.
And there's different kinds of co-living. I went into a rural area, which is where everyone, you had to be kind of together. It was in an abandoned village in Spain, and there's nothing to do except to be around the other co-living people. But after about 3 days, everything clicked, and then I loved it. And then still one of my favorite experiences and probably my favorite co-living place I'd been.
Wow. How long did you stay there? In this
1 month.
1 month.
They always they made people, they didn't make, but you had to stay a month. You could leave early if you wanted, but they liked people to come in together and then stay for the same month. So it's the same group of people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that to me was co-living is as a digital nomad traveling, staying with other people. However, there's a different co-living term, which would be like London or New York, which is where they build buildings. They're basically doing apartments for young professionals to live in a tiny apartment with like a lot of common area space.
Okay.
So I always feel like if I'm describing co-living to some people who have experienced it in like New York or London, my version of co-living is more of a traveling co-living versus a lot of people's version of co-living is New York or London, getting a tiny apartment and with really amazing common area spaces, like maybe restaurants, theater, bars, just for the people living in the building.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, so there's different versions of it, but my version is like the digital nomad traveler's version of co-living.
And so how do you differentiate it from other types of stay and other types of lifestyle while traveling and working?
Yeah, so I would say a couple key differences are the more you travel, if you're traveling for a week, you take, like if you're on a vacation, right? You only have a short amount of time and maybe a week or two. You want to be on the beach, get your pictures, ideal conditions, intense activity. You want to be in the most popular places. As a co-living or digital nomad traveling, I think most people are spending a month at a time in a country. Yeah. And they want real life. So they don't need to pay a huge amount of money to be in the center of the best beach. I think they want more like a good lifestyle for long term. You know, like they don't need to be in the most popular locations. So I think it's more like real life. It's more like people are looking for more. So that separates, I would say, the holiday travelers versus co-living travelers. I would say that if you're like staying at hostels, you know, there's a lot more kind of partying, drinking, younger crowd, people that are very price conscious. I think that for co-living, people are price conscious, but not.
Yeah, you want to pay for what you expect, right? Like a nice area to be able to stay and work in comfortable conditions.
People want to pay for quality, but it's not like they're paying a lot. They're just like, it's not, they've probably gotten to the stage of life where they want a good co-working experience, fast internet, comfortable chairs. There's there's just like a little bit more standards probably.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so like backpackers may travel long term, but most backpackers I know are saving every penny, doing anything, take a 12-hour bus to save, you know, like $5. And I don't think co-living people are like that. You know, I think it's more, because I think the difference is co-living people are usually making money as they travel versus a backpacker is like, they have a savings. When it runs out, they have to go home.
That makes a lot of difference.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks for that. How has your own experience as a co-living user, customer been so far? So you've mentioned your first experience in Spain. Yeah. And then how did you build up your experience after this?
So I would say it was life-changing. And the place that I stayed at initially, a lot of people, when they left, they're like, oh, it's life-changing, which sounds weird, but there's something about it that really, I think thinking back, like in America, before I left America to start traveling, I lived in an apartment in Austin, Texas that was very social. Okay. And we would get together maybe 10 to 30 people to barbecue, go out to bars, and we had this giant circle of friends. But that was unique. And once I left that, I would talk to those people and they would always say they never got that again. That social connection was really, really hard to find. And that's like if you're living in your home country, it's hard to find. Yeah. And then once you start traveling, I think it's also at least as hard to find, maybe harder. And so I think the co-living experience for me, the first introduction to it was life-changing because you recognize how humans need social connections. If you travel and you think about your good experience, it's not based on the country, it's based on the people you met, the experiences you were having, the dinners or the, you know, the group of people. So I think that kind of like gave me like a different insight into how important it is to be around other people and also the quality of people. You need nutritional conversations. I have stayed in places that it wasn't digital nomads. It was more like long-term expats. and I didn't find that same level of nutrition with the conversations. So I think you have to kind of match up with people of a similar interest and lifestyle. I think co-living brings together people that are usually doing projects that are really interesting. They want to contribute to the world. They're exploring the world. They're very curious. So I think that's a huge advantage with co-living, is just being around people that will stimulate you and open your eyes to new ideas. And also like various different types of people that wouldn't necessarily mix with if you weren't
otherwise.
traveling. Yeah, it's like different countries, also different
Cultural approach. Yeah.
yeah, like everything, like the way they see the world. It opens you up to, I think it helps people become more open-minded, I think, because you're going to meet very different people, but at the same time, the common theme is people traveling, living an adventurous lifestyle, doing projects.
And respecting a common set of rules at the same time. So to me, this is questioning the term like-minded people, because most of the time, I often hear this term like-minded people, but then it's like-minded people, but at the same time, people who have a different mindset, but then you kind of meet with them, and as you said, different cultural approach and vision of the world that you end up exchanging around and then and nourishing yourself from.
Yeah, absolutely. That's like my description, or how I kind of figured out co-living, my first experiences.
I want to know, what gave you the idea to open your own co-living?
It was a pretty simple set of circumstances. I always wanted to do co-living. I wanted to stay, not do, but like I wanted to stay at co-living places in Asia, but I couldn't really find anything. COVID happened, which meant co-living was off the table during COVID. Although I did stay at a place in Dominican Republic during COVID, and also in Colombia, but it was really hard to find. Like I would travel. So basically I wanted to come to Asia, couldn't find any co-living places. And I did find a couple small co-living places, but I just felt like I wanted a place to stay, and I just felt like the places I stayed weren't really fulfilling to me. And I started thinking, why don't I just, and Radek, my business partner, and we talked and kind of joked around about like, oh, we could start a co-living place.
Opening the place where you would like to live?
Yes.
Wow.
That was like, I mean, it was partially business idea, because I think I always like having interesting business projects. And so I was looking for an interesting business project, but I also wanted to have a place that would fulfill me for what I wanted out of co-living as a customer. Yeah, so it was very like, we kind of joked around about it, and it just kept coming up. And then at some point I was looking at projects and I couldn't think of anything that I would rather do than try to do my own co-living spot.
Cool.
Yeah, so I just decided, why not try it? It just was really every step of the way. It fell into place, and it never stopped falling into place. So I never stopped in the process until it was open.
That's so cool. It's been open a year?
2 years,
2 years, right?
in April, so like a year and 10 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. How is it like now? So both for you and for the co-livers. So I'm going to start out with you. How's your own balance operating this business, managing it? What did you learn on the process in terms of personal ecology and everything you have to say about this?
So for me, I think I'm happy with the way things are going, because we have, like amazing Polly's managing it, and the people that we hired formed a great team. And so it takes the pressure off me, because I'm doing a lot of social stuff, and I think I would burn out very quickly if I was constantly doing the work and the social stuff. So the fact that they took care of the day-to-day operations in a very self-contained way, that gave me so much freedom to focus on kind of the big picture, or, the social stuff, or the little things. So really I have to give them credit for that, and I knew going into it, because I've stayed at co-living places enough, and I've seen people burn out. Before we opened, we did talk about it, and I did recognize that if I'm not careful, I could burn out. So I think,
what would be the risk for you to the steps that would lead you to actually burning out, like maybe managing and taking care of everything, or too much social interactions? Or?
It's such a personal business that you're interacting on a personal level with everyone. And I think humans have a certain capacity to connect with a certain amount of people. And I think that once you can't take it personally and connect personally with people, it just becomes a job.
Yeah.
And then
that you're forced to do somehow.
Yeah. And just, it's like, if you can't sincerely connect with people, then you kind of lose the magic of the co-living stuff, because I think as a customer, I enjoyed connecting with people in a real way. And so if I couldn't connect with people in a real way, then what's the point of it? I was very aware of this. I think we just planned, like I had been a customer of enough co-living places to recognize what would get me in trouble, not in trouble, but that would like ruin the
risks and
yeah. So I think that, really like everyone, Smile and Fern and Polly and Pal and Phone. I mean, you've met all these people and
I did.
they're doing an amazing job.
They are.
Yeah, I couldn't ask for like it was perfect. Like, and I think they're happy. Like they seem like we
They
talk
look like they are.
I think they like the vibe. Everyone here is nice. They're working with really interesting people. And so it being self-contained, I think
and they
huge.
don't live on site either,
No,
right?
no, they don't. Yeah.
And that's the cool thing, because I hear what you're saying about you. I hear what you're saying about them. And then as a current customer in your co-living right now, that's also what I like, back to social interaction, the amount of social interactions that we have, this ability, this option that we have to be in a common area with other people. And the moment we feel like it, to kind of withdraw ourselves from the crowd, and then to go back, which is for me a huge difference between co-living and a hostel. You can withdraw yourself from the crowd and then get up to your room, to actual private room, where you are storing your things, you are watching whatever you want on TV, playing your video games, or listening to podcasts, or even working. So there are common areas for working. There are private areas for working, which is your own room. And I find it very special for this inner balance, as a human.
Yeah, I think freedom is important, and every person has different levels of what they want, and the freedom to be able to choose the privacy versus the social aspects.
Definitely.
I think, for me, that's huge. And also, like, since we have a self-contained staff, it gives me the freedom to do what I want, which is different than a job where you come in 8 to 5 or whatever every day. Yeah, so for me, since there's such a heavy social aspect to what I want to be doing, I need that freedom to be able to, same with you, of being able to escape when you want to, get your private time.
Definitely. And I feel this is kind of what you are offering to your customers at the same time. And that's where I say we, but I feel I can say we are appreciating here as well, definitely. Still on this topic of freedom versus privacy, I would like to talk about rules, and then the general rules, setting boundaries at the same time. So the co-living experience doesn't get like anarchy or something like that.
Yes.
I know this is a big topic for you as well. Like you've been thinking a lot about it with your business partner before opening it. Can you tell us more about how you guys set boundaries here, and why, and on what topics? And
so I can tell you, like, so Radek's from Poland. My business partner Radek's from Poland, which is a very strict Eastern European country. I'm from America, which is very customer service. Whatever the customer wants, the customer gets. So we definitely had different philosophies. We talked about it, and our main goal is never to have a rule for the sake of a rule. The rule is also always, the only goal for the rule is to make everyone's stay better.
And feel comfortable, right?
Yeah, so that was like, there's never a time where we're like, oh, we're going to be strict just for the sake of being strict, right?
Yeah.
So some of the things is we looked at cancellation policy, right? And as an American, I wanted to just be like, oh, whatever is the problem, you can just change, you can leave, But we found that would cost us probably over 10%, maybe 15%, because people change their plans so much.
Yeah.
And so,
especially when traveling. Right?
Especially when traveling. And so we had an option of raise the prices by 15%.
Okay.
Or be really strict, like any hotel would be with rules. So we talked and we're like, okay, we're going to be strict. We're going to set the rules. People will agree to the rules, and we're going to be like just nothing personal. Yeah. It's a business contract, and because a lot of times,
how did you feel with that?
As an American, I was very uncomfortable with that. But but I travel a lot, and I stay in hotels, like hundreds of hotels, and they're strict. So I'm like, okay, we're applying the same, but I think co-living seems so personal, like we're all friends. So it's like, oh, why can't I, I needed to change, or, I'm sick, or.
But you're still in the same sector of tourism. So,
So the benefit is either people pay a higher price and we're really loose, or everyone pays the lowest possible price and we enforce, which basically saves 10, 15% of revenue.
Yeah.
It's either one or the other. It can't be both. So we decided, okay, we're going to be strict.
Okay.
And so that was something that, like, that kind of rule lowers everyone's price, which allows us to charge a little bit less than most places could charge.
Thanks for that.
Yeah. And also, like, people that stayed here would oftentimes want to save money, and they would go stay somewhere like Airbnb or something, but they would come back and participate every day and all the activities. At first I thought, that's fine, we're all friends. But then other people started getting resentful and saying, like, oh, so this is like, I could save money, And I realized that our job is to make everyone not have to face being resentful or uncomfortable with their fellow co-living members.
Yeah.
And so we tried to craft a style that means we enforce a rule so that other people never have to even enter their head that I'm resentful for this person getting away with something.
Yeah.
Why are they special? Why can't, So I think that good friends and good rules can kind of go hand in hand. If you have good rules, then because you're living with 30, 40 people.
Yeah.
And, like there's different cultures. I don't ever want to have a customer have to tell someone else that something's bothering them.
Yeah.
I want us to anticipate it, think it through.
Take care of it.
Yeah, and that way everyone can just relax and they don't have to worry about it. And I think like Radek, he's more sensitive than I am. He would cry when people left sometimes. Like it gets to him. At this point, I'm like, oh, I'm going to see them again. And also my best friend, when I left America to travel, she's like, you didn't even cry at the airport. She was like sobbing. I'm like, I'm not emotional like that, like.
We'll see each other again.
Yeah.
It's not like you're dying.
Yeah, it's like my mental process is I just don't focus on, I'm just like, yeah, they're going to have fun. I'm going to see them again.
And I feel you're not focusing on what you lose. You're focusing on what you have access to.
In this part of my life, I am. In other areas of my life. And I noticed like in business, I don't focus on what I lose. I'm willing to take risks. I'm like, oh yeah, if it doesn't work. But people have a different, like response to...
and in different timings, it can change as well. So.
Yeah. Human dynamic is interesting. When you put people together in a group, people have to kind of figure each other out.
Yeah.
There's people that push boundaries. There's people that have stronger opinions. There's people that will sort themselves out as a leader and try and kind of control different situations. None of it's bad. It's just, it's just...
mankind.
Yeah, it's just the way that socially we figure stuff out. So I think it's important. I was a customer at co-living places where there wasn't a lot of structure. And I did notice there would occasionally there would be people that were bothering everyone else. And so everyone's kind of talking amongst themselves. I think our job here, it happens very, very rarely. But I think it happens rarely because we have so much structure.
Yeah. Okay.
But when you do have it happen here, and it's only happened a couple times out of like 800 people, if someone's being bothered, they need to approach us and say, hey, this is bothering me. And then we take care of it. And we figure out the solution, which is really, really intense and stressful because you want everyone to be happy and there's no necessarily right or wrong. But I don't want to leave it up to people to have to figure out their own or to sit and be bothered every day and not say anything.
Yeah.
You need to be able to say something to someone, or we need to be able to notice when it's happening and adjust it, because it's usually not a bad person. It's usually just personalities clashing. And then once they clash, they see each other in a negative light. And then they try and form sides. Like they try and tell people like, to get them on their side of the story. Yeah. And then you get splintered into groups. And it's like, and then I think it takes away from the whole experience. So I think that like for the, anyone that's in charge of the co-living space, the primary job is to observe that everyone's comfortable from the time they get here. They may not be comfortable talking to people, so you talk to them first. Once they get comfortable, they show their true personality, and then other people can like get to know them. If there's people that don't get along, I think having a clear structure to deal with any sort of like slight conflicts that might come up, which actually really rarely happens here.
Yeah, I feel that. You mentioned cancellation policy. What are other policies that you particularly looked after?
I think like allowing people to bring people onto the property. Let's say you start dating someone. If you bring that person here every day, then other people start feeling like I'm paying more money, but I'm getting the same thing. These are subtle things that the person wouldn't think about, but other people do start getting a little resentful. It will happen. I mean, it's happened. So we made rules like, okay, you can bring someone here for a couple hours in the common space. You can take them to your room as much as you want. Hang out in your room. They can spend the night. We don't care.
Okay.
But when it's a common area space that people are basically paying a premium for, 2 hours is what we felt would be a good limit. And, like stuff like that. It's the things that make everyone feel fair and balanced.
Definitely.
And also it's exclusivity. You're living with people. You don't want a stranger necessarily coming in because you bonded with all these people.
And I can tell. I've been in this situation in a previous co-living, and it's, there's a new face coming up, but I didn't know about it. Who are you? Am I supposed to let somebody know that somebody else is coming in? No, he's with me, or he or she is with me. And okay, but I felt a little, once I know, then it's fine. And then, that's a friend of a friend or a friend of somebody who became a friend. So nothing dangerous or anything, but it felt mixing up with the overall official energy here.
Yeah, because there is an official energy because you guys form groups with each other and you're bonding, you're here long term. And that's the special part of it. Because when I was a customer co-living and when I still do co-living as a customer, that's the part I like. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think I did enough co-living as a customer, I just knew what I felt in these situations. And also once we opened, I could see how people were reacting, what bothered people. Mm-hmm. And again, it's like just every rule is to make people happy. It's never a rule for us to be just hard asses or be strict. It's like a rule, but strictness and clear boundaries is what makes people be able to relax and enjoy each other's company.
Which can be kind of paradoxical in the first place, like having strict rules, you can feel like, whoa, that's very strict here. But it's actually to make sure everybody is within the boundaries of those rules, and within those boundaries of those rules, everybody can feel safe and themselves in the end, being able to be themselves.
And I think different levels require different structures. So with each other, people can be communist and share and just be completely open.
Yeah.
But on a higher level of a business, we're going to be capitalistic. And, so it's like the rules you're going to apply to the people you're closest to can't be applied necessarily to just everyone just coming in. Yeah. So it's there's different structures because the co-living part is so open and so sharing, and I like that.
Yeah.
But to protect that on a higher level, I think you need a few rules to keep things from anarchy.
Back to anarchy. Yeah. Nice. So we've already stepped into my second question about how is it like now regarding the co-livers. So you started to talk about it already. What are the activities that are proposed here?
You mean the social activities?
Yeah, social activities, yeah.
So I think that...
that you guys propose so we can have access to.
Yeah. So for me as a co-living customer, when I enter someplace, I want to have a group activity where I can meet everyone right away.
Yeah.
So we always try and have that every week, at least one, maybe two. Mm-hmm. Because someone could end up coming here and spending 3 or 4 days before they meet anyone.
Yeah.
And then if they're only here for 2 or 3 weeks, it kind of delays. So we try and do once or twice a week. Like last night, we had the happy hour.
Yep.
Time for everyone to meet each other.
And then board games at the same time?
Yeah. And then there's nightly, when I'm here, I usually try and get a board game going. Right now, a lot of people are playing the PlayStation.
Yep.
So it depends. Some people, a couple months ago or 4 months ago, everyone was playing board games. Nobody was playing PlayStation. Okay. But now this group of people is doing that.
Different groups, different energy.
Absolutely.
Right?
And sometimes we'll plan something. I think we're doing tonight. We're doing the stargazing planetarium, whatever it is. But a bunch of people are leaving, and they planned the board game night. Mm-hmm. So sometimes we'll plan something, but I like it when people plan their own stuff. And sometimes it's really if people haven't planned their own things, I like to try and create an option for them. Okay. But sometimes that conflicts because there's only so many things you can do, right? Yeah. So it's really a week-to-week balance of one thing that I try and avoid is people will drink on their own and they go out, they go to bars. But some of the co-living places I stayed at in Europe, all the common activities with the co-living that were planned by the co-living were involving heavy drinking. And I think you can't heavy drink a lot. At least I can't. It's an option. I drink, but I think
it's not something that is forbidden here.
It's not. Yeah, it's more I don't want to center our activities just around drinking. Yeah. It's an easy way for people to get to know each other. But I think people that are traveling want a healthy lifestyle. They want to exercise. They want to do yoga, meditate. Yeah, so I try not to rely on alcohol as the social lubricant. I think people are happier when they choose their own lifestyle, and I don't want to negatively. And I want us to always be a positive influence with yoga here, exercise here, meditation sometimes. Yeah, I know that's what I want. So I kind of try to create that.
Cool. Would you say you managed to bring what you wanted in the first place? Are you overall happy about it?
Surprisingly, yes. Shockingly, yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
What's behind this shocking or surprising?
Because what I imagined in my head before it happened is exactly what happened.
Wow.
So that doesn't happen very often in life.
Especially in business.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think that I took the good parts of the co-living places that I stayed at in Europe, and I tried to adjust some of the things that I thought would make it better. Even this location that we're sitting in did not look very good when we first looked at the building.
Really?
It did not. And people would come, we had friends like Radek and I were describing what we're going to do, and people are like, oh no, this is going to be terrible. They're like,
Wow.
you need to spend like 100,000 euros to make this space like proper. And I was like, oh no, I'm like, they just don't get it. I wasn't doubtful. I'm like, oh, they just don't get it. You know, in my mind, I was like, this has exactly what we need. I could have been totally wrong. It could have been a disaster. But weirdly, what I imagined was adequate. You know, like these co-working spaces.
Yeah.
If you saw it, it looked horrible. But I could see, I was like, no, people are going to be happy in here co-working. And yeah, so, and the vibe and the people and the feedback I get from people saying they're enjoying themselves, like, I really shocked that it wasn't easy. And I think, you know, like the staff that we have makes it easy for me. But as far as like the vision of imagining something, and then later on, is it true to what I imagined? It's like my best version of what I was imagining is what's happened. So it doesn't happen, I don't think, very often in life.
It is very inspirational, and then especially, you know, for the, I mean, this podcast, we have many active professionals and business developers or project developers listening to it. So it, for me, it's a key idea of self-confidence in listening to people's advice, but not too much. Because sometimes when I'm telling you, no, that's going to be terrible and that's not going to work, and when you have this inside light or, you know, trust or fire in it, and you want to go for it, and you just do, even though it's not even your native country, your native language, but that's what you did, and it worked out shockingly good.
Yeah, it is. It's weird. Like sometimes, like I'll look at people and I'll kind of have deja vu because I'm like, I imagine this, and you know, like out here where we had the happy hour last night, I imagined like, you know, 15 people out there before we opened. I was like, yeah, there's gonna be people out here.
Here they are,
and here they are. I'm like, oh, okay. And it could have gone, well, actually, one thing I imagined, this whole backspace was going to be a green area and people working. That part did not. This is like now just parking scooter area. So what I imagined there was not accurate, but
they'll still work on the way, let's say.
Yeah,
you know.
Good place to park scooters, so it worked out.
I'll be back in 1 or 2 years, so I'll see if it's all green.
Could be, yeah.
What would you say is the general profile of people we tend to meet in a co-living or would fit in a co-living? I know there isn't such a thing as an actual profile. I'm trying to think of people who are listening to us and could consider maybe trying the co-living experience. What would you want to tell them?
I think that since co-living is still fresh and new, it's attracting cutting edge people who are doing things for the first time, kind of the adventurers, right?
Okay.
And I like that because if it went mainstream, which eventually it will, I could imagine you'd have to screen applicants to make sure they fit with everyone.
Okay.
But at this time, I mean, you and I have made it so far around the world to a different foreign country, right?
Yep.
You're doing things, you know, creative things that, you know, like to create projects and stuff. So am I. Most people here are in that zone.
Yep.
I would say if someone is sitting in their home country and thinking, why am I in a box all day long? Why am I in a box when I go home? Why do I just sit and watch TV, right? Like if they have that pull of adventure that, you know, like maybe they want to do something more, to have some creative freedom outlet, you know, they're like quitting their job is a great sign that you should be here. Because I think that the people that make that jump to say, either I stay on this path my whole life, or I take this leap of faith and do something different, more towards what my heart is pulling me towards. I think those are the people that are ending up in the co-living, which makes it very interesting because it's people that are doing adventures. They're doing stuff other people aren't even imagining, but maybe they're compelled. They can't help themselves. They hate their job so much. The pain builds up to the point they're like, I can't handle this. I have to follow my dreams. I like that it's those kinds of people that are traveling right now. But I've also been meeting more and more people that are just, you know, maybe have a corporate job, they're studying another project, they have some space, and they come here for a month, and they're getting just as much enjoyment, and they're just as interesting. So it doesn't have to be like such drastic, you know, measures.
And self-employed or anything.
Yeah,
it can be
programmers. People are doing professional poker players.
Marketing.
But I feel like there is an adventurous spirit to it, where people are kind of doing things outside of the normal societal ideas. So there's no age limit. Like I've seen people in their 70s in Europe, and of course there's people like, I think one of the girls turned 20 here. She was 19.
Okay.
I was impressed because when I was 19, I wasn't traveling around the world. I didn't have the money to like, you know. So yeah, there's no like particular. I think it's good because people are outside of their home country and stuff, so they can connect with other people differently than if, like maybe in your home country, we'd only connect with a certain group of people.
Yeah.
But here it's like people can connect that you wouldn't think would be able to connect. So it's a good melting pot for different types of people to meet each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's another paradox, because when you are in your hometown and you know people and you also know the cultural aspects of this local community and local society, let's say, you could tend to think that it would be easier to meet other people who are sharing the same like territory and everything. So the same, the way we go shopping, the same kind of activities, because the same climate and everything. But we end up not meeting so many new people and staying, as you said, in our comfortable zone, let's say.
Yeah.
Whereas where you go travel, well, you just have to meet people. I mean, at some point, everything is new and everybody is new. So, and so, would you say that invites you to find and to get in touch with new parts of yourself as a traveler?
I think so, because when I was in America, my brain kind of labeled everything already.
Okay.
And so I just follow my patterns and I meet the people I'm going to meet. But I think when you travel, your brain can't label anything because you're like in a whole new environment. So I think that instead of me being the person I think I am and not even questioning it and just doing my patterns, I start recognizing things about myself that I wouldn't have thought. And so I think that the act of kind of breaking your mental patterns helps you identify with yourself more, or connect with yourself more, I guess. So I think, at least for me, it made me more open and less, not judgmental, but like less labeling of other people, so that I could, like if someone was saying something that I would have totally disagreed with, I'm more like, well, they're a good person, and maybe I'm not, maybe I don't know everything, and maybe like there's not a right and wrong in certain situations. So yeah, I think it makes people, at least it made me see myself in a different light, or just feel myself differently, like I'm different than who I thought I was.
Okay, yeah, because we often say that the other ones are kind of mirrors to ourselves. So as we're meeting new people from different countries, different parts of the world, different culture, then we tend to see maybe different things of ourselves through the relationship we have with them.
Yeah, that's very true. Even like on the flight here, everyone on the plane was like middle-aged. I was flying from Korea, and everyone's kind of like people that I wouldn't connect with, families, middle-aged.
Okay.
But I was thinking like there's no separation. It's just they're not the usual group of people I talk to all the time. So I think I've kind of tried to notice things people that I wouldn't notice before.
Yeah.
People that don't benefit me, but they're equally valuable. Because I think as humans, we kind of notice the people that are valuable to us, but don't notice the rest of the world.
That's interesting. And then here you've got the rest of the world coming at you. So you cannot just ignore them.
Yeah. So yeah, I think people notice more as they're traveling. It opens their eyes to new things.
And to me, from my own perspective, when I do what you just said, and especially in a flight, I see what you mean. And it gives me a wider picture of mankind all around me. Like I'm being surrounded by mankind right here, right now, by other humans that are not part of my local territory and, my usual area of living and interactions. And so it reminds me that there's not only me or people like me. There are other people that are more dark color or bright color or whatever, and eating different and talking different and actual humans. And that's what the Permahuman project is all about. Like better connect to yourself so you can better connect to other people, even though they are different, very different in terms of cultural perspectives and everything. So we tend to think again that we are like a huge family as the species of human, and that's what coliving is pretty much at a smaller scale, I would say, because we have here like pretty much, I wouldn't say all the nationalities, but many different nationalities.
Yeah, a lot of different countries represented.
Yeah. And so I'm enjoying right now. We are having a girl from Ukraine and another one from Russia. We went on an activity all together, and we all got along so well, and both of them as well. Like that wasn't an exception.
Yeah.
And so one would take the picture for the other one, and you know, reciprocally. And we don't get to see outside conflicts where we are here, because we meet as humans more than being labeled. Once again, as you said, being labeled even by where we're from.
That's interesting, because I've you know, like with Palestine and Israel or Ukraine and Russia, I feel like I read something that there's a lot of group insanity in the world, and there always has been, there always is. So like on a higher level, there's so much just group insanity. Like if you look at like politics or religions, or on a group level, it's the definition of insanity. Like if you read definitions of insanity, you could apply this to group thinking. But when you get to an individual level, there's not insanity. Like people are not insane. They're logical, they're open-minded. So I feel like I've been to 45 countries now. I did not meet really any bad people. There are like, you know, scammers targeting tourists in some places, but everyone's nice in the world. And the insanity comes from more of a group level. And I think disconnecting from your group and traveling will force people to follow their individual like intuition, or and it's not an insane world. The insanity is on a group level, you know, like where a group brainwashes you into thinking the other people are worse than Hitler, right? Or you know, like, and that's like an insanity that I think it's nice to get away from, because it's so illogical. So, you know, American politics, of course, everyone knows it's a just massive group insanity, in my opinion, like all countries are. I mean, there's stuff in every country you go to. So, so I think on an individual level, you get away from it and you stop associating with it, and then it stops bothering you. It stops, I think if you're in your home country or if you're around your group of people, that group insanity, you can't escape it. You can't, you know, you have to pick sides, or you have to listen to it every day, or you watch the news.
And you have to belong. I mean,
people try and force you. They don't want, with group insanity, they want you to pick a side. And they will not allow you to just be neutral. It's like, it's kind of the definition of, I think, how the insanity spreads is you have to accept our brainwashing completely, or, you know, like you're the worst person in the world. And that's so crazy, because it doesn't make anyone happy. It creates massive death and wars. But I think the individual people are always sane, nice. They would like each other. So I think that's a good thing about co-living, with being mixed with all these people. You start recognizing, okay, an example. During COVID or right after, I was in Spain and Americans were coming into the co-living. So I was like doing co-living. And from an American point of view, most people were like, oh, if you don't take the shot, you're like the worst person in the world. Now, here's the problem. A lot of German and French people were saying, no, we're not going to take it. So when the Americans would be talking about this, they got so confused that a French or a German person, so it made them kind of be more open-minded to accept, okay, I disagree with you, but you're a nice person. And so since you didn't have the group insanity of America, they actually had to be open-minded. And it went both ways. So I think that it's not understanding people have a different view, but they're not animals. They're actually a human being with value. I think that you can learn that a lot easier outside of your group and being forced around someone you disagree with in a co-living situation. So I've seen that a lot, where people, instead of just slapping a label and just dismissing this person as like worse than like not human, just like they had the conflict and which is good. I mean, I've been pushed into that also many times, and I think it's really healthy. It's good for me.
Nice. And that happens all the time in a co-living, for sure. I'm very happy that you get into the political aspect of going to a co-living, because when I was preparing this podcast, kind of wanted to step into that field and into that topic, because I feel, you know, with the big amount of information we get from the media, a lot of it being desperate because there's nothing you can do about it. Like when you think about wars and you know, major conflicts and everything, as an individual, there's nothing I can do about it. And that's very frustrating. And that can, you know, grow some sense of anxiety or fear or stuff. But when you decide to go to a co-living here in that case, to me, you are actually taking a step. So you have a power of action. So it's kind of empowering on what you're doing, where you're going, who you are going to meet, and what kind of relationship do you want to develop with people you don't even know. It's a more opening kind of relationship and more trustful. When, as we said, like being Russian and Ukrainian, and we can be friends under that roof, you know, and live together and feeling safe with each other. So that's my own perspective. But stepping into a co-living is kind of making the choice that I want to grow healthy relationships into my world, let's say, into my life, you know, into my the world being, you know, here, the city or the district or the co-living. But for me, that's huge because you're taking back the power of what you like, what you want your life to be.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And I think that coming here with co-living, you're putting yourself in a completely different situation. And that's part of the benefit. Like you asked earlier, what's the difference between like hostels, hotel, different types of travel, right? I think for co-living, you're putting yourself in the middle of a bunch of people. And so it opens you up to have the power to connect with people. Maybe I've seen a lot of people form partnerships with each other, maybe do projects together. I think it kind of speeds up the process of meeting new people, connect. It's more intense because you're living with people. So yeah, I think it gives you the power to be around a lot of people. Like if I were in America and I went to a new city, I would be struggling. Like, how do I meet people? It would be a very slow pace. Here, I think, you know, it gives you a lot more options.
Opportunities,
a lot more opportunity, like you said, like taking the power. Because I think a lot of people are like, oh, how do I meet people? Like, okay, some meetup group or, you know, what's going on in my building, but you don't really have control over it. So you're like, what are my options?
That's true.
I think here, it's like very empowering to participate in different group activities. Like maybe someone, you know, people are going to temples or something, or do things like with groups of people to form, you know, like a lot of people are doing similar projects. They don't know it. And so they start connecting with each other. So I think it gives people a lot more tools to control their own life and to do things that they've been wanting to do.
And that cheers them up somehow. Like, I know some people got inspired by the podcast activity, and then I've been asked, so what kind of software are you using? What kind of mic are you using and everything? Well, I can show you, you know. And so we exchanged information and options, and that's mutually beneficial, definitely.
So that is one of the biggest benefits of co-living, in my opinion. I don't know how to harness that so people can take advantage of it more. That's one of the things that I've been trying to figure out since we've opened. Like, how could we, like we were doing a weekly group activity, which would be where people went around the room and described what the projects they're working on, you know, and that connected a lot of people. Occasionally there are people that have a skill that other people want to learn, and we'll try and, you know, do a workshop on that. But I don't think we're taking full advantage of there's so much inspiration and so many different things that people could learn here from each other. I don't know how to get all that talent connected.
Sharing knowledge.
Yeah, that part of it I've thought about a lot, but I haven't figured out. Maybe other co-living places have figured that out better. So I've been looking. Sometimes you'll meet someone right before they leave and you'll realize they had something really interesting you would have liked to talk to them about, but you know, you lived together for a month and you didn't. But it's still, I think there's a lot of inspiration and people connecting going on. So.
Well, that's just like the motorbike parking. That's an ongoing project.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
That's very nice. As I don't want this episode to be only about positive aspects and like a very co-living, selling stuff, what would you say to people who are listening to us? What are the downsides or things that maybe the warnings or things that they need to keep in mind before considering co-living? Okay,
so I would say two things. One, in Europe, everyone had the joke that 1 month 1 month co-living, 1 month to recover.
Okay.
So I feel
recover.
Because I mean, there was a lot of activities and drinking and going out, and so it was a very intense social experience. And so usually they would do 1 month co-living, and then 1 month Airbnb. That's one of the things. If people do co-living, it's great, but it's like a summer camp for adults almost, where you enjoy it and then you take a break. I don't think here is as much because people have their own big rooms. Because it's less expensive. Like in Europe, the space is expensive. So if you're in a cheaper country like Thailand, you get more room and stuff. But if you're in Europe doing co-living, I think that you get so much social activity and so much social interaction that you need to like kind of recover and have alone time afterwards.
Yeah. So the warning here would be to take care of your proper yin-yang balance. Like times of relationship and interactions, but then also taking care of our own personal time, I would say. And, you know, I've had that joke with Rachel yesterday. We talk a lot about FOMO, so the fear of missing an opportunity or fear of missing out something. And so that can drive us to join activities that we might not really be willing to go, but just because we don't want to miss and we don't want to miss an opportunity to interact and stuff, we're still going. And then she came up with a word. It's Josie. Josie is the joy of staying in.
Okay, yeah. Yes.
So that's the other way around. And I'm happy to share this in the podcast, you know, like how about expressing and feeling the joy of staying in? That's all right. People are going out. We're going to see them tomorrow. And that's the magic of a co-living. We're going to see each other tomorrow. We don't have to be all together all the time. And that's something we need to take care of, I guess.
I think that people are starving. Like if you travel by yourself, you haven't talked to people, you come into a situation, you want to do all the activities, and it's like a starving person or someone that's thirsty drinking water. And then at some point, they fill up. And so they're like, okay, now I can like start rethinking how much stuff I'm going to do. And I think this is just natural and part of it. And everyone goes through it. And so, and then if it's a really intense social, like in Europe, where you're going to have like cramped space, then probably after a month, you're going to want to take a month just by yourself. You're going to be like Lisbon, traveling by yourself, like, oh, I enjoy traveling by myself again, you know? And then after about a month, you're going to be like, I haven't talked to anyone really.
Where are those people?
Yeah, and then you're like, okay, well, I need to go back. So that's just natural. It's part of it. On a longer time scale, I think after a year to 2 years, people start craving a foundation. Humans need connectivity to one place. So most people start looking for their home base. They start looking like, where do I want to make my home base? And then they transition into home base. And then when they feel the urge, they go to a co-living place, travel. That's the stage I got to. And I think everyone I talked to that did co-living and digital nomad, I don't think it's a warning. I think it's just like, that's a natural thing for people to happen. So you kind of expect that, you know, you start thinking about starting a business in a foreign country, making your roots, but still travel, but not nearly as much as the first year or two. So I think that's the natural progression.
I had this question from a friend, a close friend, who told me, I'm really picturing myself into this co-living experience because all of those, you know, interactions and meeting new people and new perspectives. And at the same time, I feel that I want to keep my apartment, my contract and everything, because I want to be able to come back home, as you just said. And I told him, but you know what? Half of the people I meet here still have their own apartment. And so, as you said, they are traveling for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and then coming back to their apartment where they've stored their things. And I've seen both, like people keeping their actually home apartment and people who just want to, live out of 2 suitcases and just, you know, travel the world for some time. To the point that they might settle down somewhere.
I think it's also budget. Like I could never afford to keep a home.
That's
apartment.
another question.
So definitely. I was like, I didn't have the option. So if I would have, it would have been great to have a nice apartment somewhere. But I was usually coming in hot to a country with, you know, I always had the freedom to have a business that provided enough to humbly live in cheaper countries. But if I did have the money, I think I would have kept a nice apartment somewhere. That's kind of something I think gives people a sense of stability. Safety
like, to be able to go back somewhere.
You can always run back. You can always go home. For me, I didn't have that luxury. So I was always like...
that wasn't even a question.
No, I can't go backwards. Can only go forwards. So again, I do think if people can pull that off, I do think most people would like that. Sometimes I would wake up in a country and I would just be, I know no one, I know nothing. I have enough money for a couple months, but I mean, it's a really lack of stability, and that, which is good for me. That was like actually pushing me out of my comfort zone. You can either get scared by that, or you can feel like, wow, this is exciting. It's an adventure.
Thank you very much. We're getting to the end of this episode. Is that anything you would like to add? You would like to question? You would like to explore, like kind of a conclusion, hint, tip to be sharing with the audience?
Yeah, so I would say a Buddhist monk told me something when I first came to Thailand, and it really resonated with me. So I did monk talk, which is where you talk to an English-speaking monk or monk chat. So he told me at the end of the conversation, he told me the saying that he like he said it was his favorite, something his teacher told him. He said, if you're looking for water, you'll find it. I didn't ask for an explanation. To me, it made perfect sense. But the way I interpret it is the people that are traveling, people that are co-living, they're usually looking for something. They're exploring something. And I think that everyone, if you truly follow what you're looking for, you'll find it. It's something with the universe or something, right? It may not happen the way you think, right?
Yep.
But it does happen, and it happens the way it's supposed to happen. And I think that people that are searching and looking for something, it always happens if you look hard enough, if you're committed to it. I think it always happens that you'll find, if you're looking for water, you'll find it.
So trust what you're looking for.
Yeah, I think people here are following an adventure, and they're, like they're following a path. And I always feel like if people decide that's what they want to do, and they do the co-living, they do the travel, they'll find what they're looking for.
That's cool. That's a great ending.
Good.
Thank you very much, David.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And good luck with transforming this motorbike parking into a green area.
Yes.
I want to see that next year.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for listening this episode till its very end. Thank you for how you'll show your appreciation about it through the stars and comments that you'll leave on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen your podcast. Once again, if you want to join the Permahuman community and access more inspirational episodes, but also relaxing content like meditation, easy yoga sessions, blog articles, and more, just click on the link below in the episode's description. I wish you have a great day or evening, and happy to meet up again with you soon. Bye.
So I think that's a huge advantage with co-living, is just being around people that will stimulate you and open your eyes to new ideas. And also like various different types of people that wouldn't necessarily mix with